Hey YouTube, so bringing you a fight from a long time ago. This is years ago that I fought this fight. It was one of the first things I ever recorded, and I just never went back and cleaned it up and uploaded it. So the reason I kept it, I guess, is because it became a really close fight. I think primarily it became a close fight because I wasn't making good decisions, but I think I was paying more attention to like recording than actually fighting the fight. I made some bad decisions, put myself in a bad position, and then just tried to dig out of the hole that I put myself into. So I'm playing as the Ostrogoths or Visigoths. I don't remember, one of those two. And I don't even recall who I'm fighting against, but going into the fight, they have me outnumbered, but I have some pretty elite infantry units compared to theirs. I don't recall if I don't know how elite they are, but compared to theirs, they definitely will tank out what they have to offer on the front line. I got a couple good cavalry units, a shot cavalry and a melee cav, so I have an advantage on the front line, and then I have an advantage in cavalry. And I got a couple of missile calves here. The one things they have is they're going to have archers for one, which I don't have any of, and then they're also going to have artillery. So they got me at a good disadvantage when it comes to range and ranged power. It's funny, it's looking like I'm kind of debating where I want people. Moving things around, him here, him here. It's kind of funny for me too to watch these fights from way back when, because at this point, and I had put plenty of time into Total War games by this time, but I mean, I only put, I've just now put more into it. I just keep putting more into it. So I'm way better at this game now, at these games now, than I was then. It's fun to look back and see where I was and what kind of strategies I was employing when I fought this fight. Granted, I don't think I did too much. I've changed too much since this fight. Right now I'm into to Warhammer, Total War Warhammer, so things are a little bit different in that game. But by and large, my strategies stay the same. I love my cavalry, so I love to to get some good work in with my shot cavalry.
Battle ready and eager. Stay as you are.
Alright, you see me lock the group there. Here we go. Gonna start it.
Today our foes have made a grave mistake. They have foolishly decided to stay and face our attack.
So we're gonna start moving up real slowly, but again, we're gonna take a look at their army, what they have to offer, and they got some artillery up there, which means they're gonna do damage to me before I can get there. I would think my typical strategy would be to push as fast as humanly possible. Take my front line and just rush them forward. The faster I get there, the less damage I'm going to take from that artillery. But in this fight, I seem content to just take it at a slow pace and let the artillery get off some barrages, which it definitely will. It's not firing yet, so I'm not really concerned right now. And there it goes. It's going to start firing on me. It's firing into looks like into one of my missile cav. Yep, the right flank. So I rush my missile cav. I start rushing my missile cav up there, one on each side. Now it looks like what I'm trying to do here is to wrap the missile cav around and see if I can just do a cav charge on the artillery. And they're not heavy cavs, so they're not going to do too much. But I want to. I know I don't need that much, right? I don't need that much to take out their artillery or keep it from firing at the very least. So then I'm recognizing there's some of their defenses and getting around to the other side. They're shooting. They switch to fire or explosive ammo. So I decide to try and go for a charge on this archer, on those archers, and then I last second decide no thank you. And I'm gonna try to keep trying to wrap around, but now they're in range of everything. Now they're in range of all the archers, and you start to see the arrows go off, the volleys going up into the air, and that cavalry unit got absolutely wrecked. They ran into some of the spear throwers, I believe, as well. Yeah, okay, they ran into their own missile cav that unloaded on them. And this game, I forget, after having played Warhammer for so long, it's funny to see everybody with precursor javelins. Every single pretty much every single unit in this game has some sort of precursor javelin, and those melee cav have javelins. So most of the time, they wouldn't be doing anything to my missile cav unit. I could just kite them all around, throwing spears at them all day, but they got those precursor javelins, so that it doesn't allow for that. And you're gonna see that second cav start to break, and they got destroyed by that melee cav unit. So I tried to get a little sneaky with my missile cav. Excuse me. I'm not really a big missile cav person anyway, so it doesn't really bother me that they're off the field. But they did absolutely nothing. I got no work done with them. My strategy, I should have aborted it immediately. I shouldn't even have worried about it. And I don't know what I'm doing here. And this is kind of interesting too. You see my shot cav is getting just dominated by that artillery. And I'm not really sure what I was thinking here. I mean, I'm kind of just pushing up slow. Instead of pushing it, I'm moving up slow, which is counterintuitive as far as what you would need to do to neutralize artillery. That being said, it looks like the artillery just shot its last volley, so I have no reason to push anymore. Artillery's out of the game. They're nothing more than a really shitty melee unit at this point for the rest of the battle. So I can take my time with it. Walk everybody into position, get everybody set up, reset my cavalry, what I have left, because now looks like my missile cav is all but gone. They've already routed and came back once. My shot cav took serious damage from the artillery, so my melee cav is maybe the only cav that I have it's still relatively full strength, right? Granted, my shot cav can still do some serious damage, even at half strength. Shot cav can wreck them, and they don't have much to stop them. They got, it looks like, I know I saw one missile cav unit, and they have the one melee cav unit, so they don't have a whole lot to neutralize my cavalry. I gotta get that one melee cav off the board. That's really what I need to do, is get that melee cav off the board, and at that point, my cav can really handle the fight, right? Start running rear charges. So that's what I'm looking to do here. Spin it up a little bit. So I felt outmatched a little bit going into this one, just on sheer numbers, but the reality of it is I had the advantage based on the tier of my infantry, right? One-on-one, every single one of my infantry wins against any one of their infantry. Save for that general, I suppose. So one thing I definitely noticed is I'm a lot worse with moving my army up as a unit than I am now. thinking to myself, these guys got exposed. I can go ahead and take a free charge at them. My cav's already routing. But oh, look at that. Looks like traps. Defense, they didn't even make the charge. They ran over some of the defensive traps and took too much damage and routed. So they're gone. 2 units of missile cav off the board. They haven't done anything. So now I'm going right through the traps. I'm not worried about it anymore. Most of those traps, or some of the traps, don't even hurt infantry, only cavalry, so I don't have to worry about all of it. I am going to start to move my cavalry around the flank and get ready for some rear charges. So moving one left and one right. And you see that unit get in a nice little javelin toss before they engage. The units that had to cross the defensive positions took some damage, but not a whole lot. Nothing to be scared of, nothing to be concerned about.
Withdraw! The men are broken and are fleeing!
So then almost immediately, a couple of my units rout. So even now, with the sizable infantry advantage, I'm still not looking very good. Bringing my general in to lock these guys down, and that should still be a pretty good engagement for me, even though it's just a general. And here I'm fucking up. I'm like fucking up entirely. Tried to essentially try to pull my general through that unit.
Enemy units have returned to the battle. Heavy cavalry! The enemy general is dead.
So I dropped their general real early. That's obviously really good for me. And you see, boom, the chain route. That helps me a lot. You see that? This chunk of infantry here is really bossing up on that side. They just routed 4 units, including the enemy general. My enemy general's wavering, so he might not last much longer. And yep, there he goes. But I got this big chunk really doing work on that right flank. They're moving in some pikemen. But pikemen, they're easy to deal with. Looks like my shot cav starting to rout. They're getting peppered with arrows and also engaged in melee. Of course, I'm not worried about that pike, and I'm not trying to engage the pike at all. The pike can stand there all it wants. It can't really do too much. But what I'm not going to do is charge anything anywhere near it. So I'm just using my cavalry to start wrapping up all their auxiliaries. That's a good engagement for me. It's going to be my melee cav on their missile cav, so that's an easy one. They're going to have some archers peppering into that engagement though, so that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt me, but this friendly fire is so ridiculous in this game that it might hurt them more than it hurts me. Either way, I win this fight. There's no way that missile cav is going to take on my melee cav. And then I got 3 really good melee units on 2 not so good melee units of theirs. And I know this is it. This is the last stand, so I'm burning everything I can. And you saw me burn some of my cooldowns on those guys, and that could have won me the fight. That may have been the difference maker, and that's really how close this fight was. That's what it really came down to. You know, it's leadership up the middle. One of those guys was already wavering when I burned his cooldown, and he hung in there. And I also debuffed one of the other units, and they routed almost immediately. So again, those three melee units are really tanking it out for me, and I need every bit of it. So now they got what they got left: a spear unit engaged to my 3 melee units, which we're gonna win that one on sheer numbers, and my swordsmen are gonna best their spearmen anyways. Again, you see some wavering going on, and they brought their missile caps out of ammo, so they brought it in to make it useful in whatever way it can. Looks like I had another rout, so now we're down to just 1 unit. one melee unit going up against that unit of spearmen, and then they got this random useless squad of artillerymen who aren't going to do anything. I don't even know what weapon they have. They probably running around with rocks or some shit. And then they got that pike. So the pike, I mean, the pike's going to do damage, but it's not going to do a whole lot. And as long as I maneuver it properly, it's going to be almost useless. It's going to be about as good as that artillery unit. And that's a pretty elite melee unit that I got there. So I'm going to run a charge on the end against his pikemen, and I'm going to pull my cav up and get ready for a rear charge as soon as I turn them. So they're going in. They're going to turn around. It looks like they're going to try to disengage so they can get their pikes back out and ready. They start to, the pikes go down, but boy, here comes that cavalry in the back. They try to turn around. Now don't get turned around quick enough. And that cavalry goes right into the back of that pikeman. Pikeman rout almost immediately. The cav charge just demolished them. The spearmen are starting to rout. This is my fight.